We got 2 units left this year. So our next one is volume. It's volume of rectangular prisms, which you've done for the most part before. So we're going to start off, we're going to take your notes on page 190. Number 1 there, volume is the measure of the amount of space a 3-dimensional figure occupies. Basically, area, which we did early in the year, area covers something, like a 2D shape, or it could be covering a 3D shape. Volume fills it up. All right, so volume is what it takes to fill something up. It is measured in cubic units. If I say something is cubed, what's the exponent on that? 3. All right. It's the product of 3 things then. That's where the cube comes from. Length, width, and height. So you're just multiplying length, width, and height. But if you had, I don't know, let's say it was feet for the measurement. If you had feet times feet times feet, number times itself, 3 times is how we can get that exponent of 3. That's where the cubic feet comes from. Okay, so if each of those numbers had a label that was the same, that's how we get to the cubic feet. So, volume formula, you've seen it before. Length, width, height. Length times width times height. What's different versus what you did last year, we're going to do fractions. Okay, so these will have fractions to them. When you multiply fractions, straight across the top, or straight across the numerators, and straight across the denominators. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Obviously, if we're doing fractions, some of them will have mixed numbers. If we got mixed numbers, they need to become improper fractions first. Y'all remember doing these? Was it last year? Yeah. So, shouldn't be too bad then. All right, so we look at number 1 on the bottom left there. That is a cube, right? So to find the volume, we're doing our length times width times height. 3 times 3 times 3, 27. 4 times 4 times 4, 64. So that would be the volume for the cube. You're just multiplying them out. When you have your fractions, straight across top, straight across bottom. Y'all go ahead, try number 2. All right, who thinks they have the answer for number 2? Nope. Actually, yeah, I'll take that. That's not simplified though, but we'll take it. All right, so for number 2 here, you'd have 1. We'll make it 1 over 1 times 1 1/3. We can make that 4/3 times 1/2. So if you multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom, that's how you get that 4/6. 2 goes into both those, so that would simplify to 2/3. Okay? The 1 foot's right here. I put it over 1 because that's, we got to do fractions. All right, so the other thing, if you were using your calculator, 1 times, to put this in, 1, and then you hit the unit button. When you hit the unit button, it gives you the line for a fraction. It has you up in the numerator. You put 1, you gotta hit the down arrow to get the denominator. You gotta hit the right arrow to get out of the denominator. Then you hit times. And then you can either do the BC button or you can hit the unit button again. Either one works. You do the BC button, you put in your 1/2, and you can just multiply it that way as well. And that gives you the simplified one right away, right? Any questions on that? All right, turn to 191. The other thing we have to do with this unit is we might have to find a missing dimension. That sounds like it might be like super cool, like, ooh, we're gonna be like Doctor Strange and go looking for different dimensions or parallel universes. It's not. It's, by dimension, they mean length, width, height, okay? So to find the missing dimension, which is just the missing side, the book says multiply the 2 sides you've been given, then divide the volume by the 2 sides, okay? So I'll show you what they mean. So they're saying if the length, I'm just going to use whole numbers, is 2, width is 4, we don't know the height, and the volume is 40. What they're saying to do is to do 2 times 4, that's 8, and then divide the volume by that, and we get 5. Personally, that's not the way I would do it, okay? The way I would do it is you start with your volume, and you just divide by each of the sides, all right? So you divide by 2, that's 20, 20, that's 5. Okay. My way is definitely going to be easier is when it's calculator active, because you can just do 40 divided by 2 divided by 4, and that gives you 5 right away on the calculator. Both ways work. Whichever way you're more comfortable doing it is fine. The way I showed you in purple there, if you're doing it without a calculator, you got to work out the 2 steps. Do the whole number first. Don't do a mixed number first with the division. That'll usually work out a little bit better for you too. With the calculator, super easy. All right, so let's try a couple of those. towards the bottom there, 191. A little bit blurry up here on the screen. But just like I said, you got 72 for the volume. We got 2, we got 6. 72 divided by 2 is 36. 36 divided by 6 is 6. So that would be our missing side, our length there. This is a good time to point out, because it's true in this case. Just because a picture looks one way doesn't mean that's how it really is. It looks like this side here is longer than all the others, doesn't it? We just did the math, that's not the case. So always kind of be aware, just because a picture looks one way doesn't mean it actually is that way. I know for sure if I make the picture, it definitely won't be the scale. All right, try, I guess that's the tissue box. I need your answers with fractions whenever they have a fraction for this. Ben? 12 No? 12 and a half. All right, so like I said, I want these answers with fractions. So if you put that into your calculator, it could give you the answer right away with a fraction. Sometimes it gives it to you as a decimal. It depends. If it ever happens to give it to you as a decimal, in this case, it would give you 12.5 if it did it that way. Anybody remember what button to push? Yeah, Shane? No? It's just the FD button, okay? The FD button, that looks kind of like that. That changes fractions to decimals or decimals to fractions. The button Shane was talking about to the right of that changes it from an improper fraction to a mixed number, or a mixed number to an improper fraction. That make sense? Any questions on that?